Cinematic VR Crash Course.
Hello everyone, thanks for your interest in the Cinematic VR Crash Course. I'm your teacher, JORIS SEGHERS, editor at Purple Pill, an immersive content studio from Amsterdam. This is an update to the initial course that Nick Kraakman, co-founder of Purple Pill, created. Here you see some of our work of the past year. The course was created in 2015 and focused on a specific camera workflow which isn't that relevant anymore. Because of the great technological development of virtual reality over the past years, I try to focus on a more general workflow which will suit everyone who'd like to get started with creating cinematic VR experiences. You don't need any experience with virtual reality in order to start this course. We have created this course to share our knowledge with the community and create a central place where people can learn these exciting new skills. To make sure that everyone is on the same page, we'll briefly talk about why you should care about VR in the first place, what cinematic VR is, and what it's not, as well as a list of tools you need to start creating immersive video content yourself. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. According to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, VR is the next major computing platform that will come after mobile, and Brian Shuster from Wire.com believes that virtual reality holds the promise to be even more transformative than the flat web was, reaching into every segment of every market and remaking it to be virtually accessible. These are big words, but judging from the billions of dollars that major tech companies like Google, Sony, Samsung, Facebook, HTC and more are pouring into the VR market, they might just be right. VR is here to stay, and it's going to be huge. So let's see how cinematic VR allows you to take advantage of this opportunity. Television started as black and white images with no sound. After sound, color was added. The resolution constantly increased, and the latest models now support 3D video. Each of these steps added an extra layer of immersion. Virtual reality videos, which place the viewer in the middle of the film, are the next logical step in the evolution of film. While VR was originally developed with gaming in mind, cinematic VR is all about immersive video content, with the action happening all around the viewer. Wearing a VR headset, the viewer truly feels part of the scene and decides where to look, which creates a paradigm shift for filmmakers who are used to framing a shot. It also raises interesting new questions like where do you hide your camera crew when you film on all sides simultaneously? How can you make sure the viewer does not miss the main part of the storyline? And how do you light a scene without having obvious light showing? We'll revisit these questions in a later lesson. The word virtual reality hints at its ultimate goal, to make a reality available virtually. If you look at reality in the world around us, we can see things on all sides. We also see depth and hear where sounds are coming from. So if we want to realistically capture the world around us, we need two main ingredients. 1. A camera which films on all sides in 3D. 2. A special surround microphone called an AMBISONIC microphone, which also captures directional information. Let me quickly explain what ambisonic audio is. At the moment, the focus in the cinematic VR community seems to be on video, while realistic audio creates about 50% of the experience. We'll cover ambisonics more in depth in a later lesson, but for now it suffices to know that an ambisonic microphone captures a so-called sound field rather than a simple stereo track. This sound field contains audio information from all sides and can be decoded to 7.1 or 5.1 surround, and most importantly for VR, a binaural format. Let me explain. Sounds appear differently in each of your ears because your head interferes with them. Binaural audio takes the shape of your head into account, using a so-called head-related transfer function, or HRTF, which creates a super realistic listening experience and also allows you to locate where sounds are coming from. If you haven't already, put on a headphone. I'll play the same audio sample twice. The first is recorded with a regular microphone and the second with an ambisonic microphone. See if you hear the difference.
This is stereo. This is binaural.
Cool, right? You can actually hear where the sounds are coming from. So these two ingredients allow you to create immersive cinematic VR content, which is really more an experience than a video. Now there are quite a few 360 degrees cameras available, but most film in 2D, so no depth in the video, and they also generally come without an ambisonic microphone. While it is still possible to create great spherical content with such a camera, it's technically not cinematic VR. It's 360 video in a VR headset. To create a true experience which comes as close to reality as possible, you really need 3D video as well as spatial audio. In a perfect world, you might also want to include smell and touch senses, because the more senses you activate, the more real the experience will feel to the viewer, a phenomenon called presence. Presence can be experienced in the current state of cinematic VR by moving your head over 3 rotational axes: pitch, roll, and jaw. This is called 3DOF, or 3 degrees of freedom. 6DOF will be the next step in cinematic VR, and with this technology, you'll be able to move your whole body over the other 3 translational degrees: forward, backward, left, right, up, down. In other words, you'll be able to move around instead of just looking around. This technique uses different ways of capturing and will be covered briefly in later lessons. To summarize, VR is going to be huge, judging from the billions of dollars all the big tech companies are investing in it. Cinematic VR is the next logical step in the evolution of film. Cinematic VR places the viewer in the middle of the action. To create a realistic experience, you need a 360 3D camera as well as an ambisonic microphone. Ambisonic mics record a complete sound field. This can be decoded to a binaural format. Binaural audio uses a head-related transfer function, which allows you to hear where sounds are coming from. Most 360 cameras film in 2D and without spatial audio. The more senses you trigger, the more real the experience will feel. This is called presence. In the next lesson, we will look at some of the available camera rigs to help you pick your weapon of choice.